Okay, so in this one, this was kind of cool. This is so I swear I could take one college lacrosse game every year, and I could basically do a year's worth of Facebook Lives with just with the stuff that happens in one game. So I apologize that this is another UVM Duke like. But this ended up in my feed, this on my Facebook feed, or sorry, my YouTube feed, and I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about this one too. All right, so this is Brennan O'Neill. All right, and oops, let me get my face out of there. Boom, here we go. All right, so let's watch this clip. Okay, I'm gonna play this through live once. Ball moves from top right. I'll show this to you again. All right, so let's talk about this one. So as a team, okay, as a team, whoops, dang it, gotta get that off of there. Remove. So as a team, as a goalie, I want you guys to understand something here. Is that as a team, you got to know where your goalie's strengths and weaknesses are, right? So as a general rule, if we can force shots to come from low angles, we should increase our goalie's save percentage, right? That's just a general rule, and I think everybody would agree with me on that. There's this idea that hey, if we give up a close shot, like a low angle shot, that's good as opposed to a high angle shot, right? Really important. Um, the idea here is that in this particular game, there was a lot of goals scored on low angle shots, and I'm going to show you a couple of them right here. Um, and so, uh, so, so this ball comes. So there's the ball top center, basically. And now, if we look, what happens here is so the midi on the ball is doing a decent job. Um, and there's really no need for there to be a slide here. This drives me nuts. Okay. This is Division One lacrosse. I gotta rechange my thing. Hold on. Sorry guys. Let me do that. Refix this. Smart capture. Boom. Boink. All right, this should be a little bit better. Okay, there you go. All right. So let me just go back again. So this is even strength. Okay, this is even strength. And so what's really important is that the goalie should be the one calling position, right? They should be calling slides. They should be telling the defense when to go because the goalie knows that, they would rather have one shot than another shot. Okay. And so when the defense starts to make those decisions, even at young ages, right? So some coaches like at young ages, maybe a goalie is a little overwhelmed and they can't start talking position yet. Um, Whoops, thank you. No, actually, this is the right label. This is the right label. But the idea here is that the goalie should really be calling out. The goalie should be really calling out communication. So you'll see the bent stick here in a second. The idea though is that okay, so if my defense does what we want them to do, and we give up a low angle shot, well then our goalie should make the save. So what happens here is as we play this through, ball's coming top center. Right now, if you look on the left side of the screen here, if you look at this guy, right, this UVM defender is passing off this midi to this long stick. Okay. And just off the screen is Brendan O'Neill, who's got a cannon of a shot. Okay. So we've now passed off this player and we're basically setting a little, it's almost like a little bit of a pick. But this player here doesn't need to even be thinking about sliding. Okay. Right? Doesn't need to even think about it because if this guy let off a shot from here, running away from the cage, our goalie should make that save. Okay. I don't care what the age is, goalie should be making the save. But the fact that 22 here is looking at the ball carrier, you don't do that. You don't slide looking at the guy because they know you're coming. right? And then what ends up happening is that what's happening behind him is a mess. So we've basically taken the long pole off of their best shooter because we have an over eager midfielder here trying to slide. Right. So now the slide comes, and that's just the easiest of dumps. Boink. And he's not even doing anything. He's not even like in place to put the ball on the ground. He's not in place to pick it off. Now, even with that, we've given up a low angle shot. All right. We've given up a low angle shot. So, especially from this angle, okay, especially from this angle, a goalie should be covering like 80% of the available space in the cage. All right, 80%. And so as a goalie, you understand there's only about two places this ball can go from here. One is so from a righty goalie on my left post, I'm thinking, okay, he's got 5-hole. That's my number one spot. But when it's at this angle, I should be like, oh, I can just get my legs together or drop to my knees or get in front of it like a baseball catcher or whatever, and I should be able to make that save. Okay. Then secondarily, you're thinking, but he could sneak it by my ear, my left ear. Okay. But that's like a really good shot. Well, when you're getting against a shooter like this, you have to respect that. Okay. When you're like a high school kid and you're playing like other high school kids, uh, you know, you're assuming like, okay, yeah, that kid's gotta be really accurate to hit that spot. He's not probably that accurate. That's what's kind of going through goalie's head. So most likely they're going 5-hole. Right. But here, this shot goes basically right by his left ear. And if you notice, if you watch this, the goalie gets their stick on the ball. I'm gonna just change the FPS here, guys. Hold on. Right. So there comes the shot. Goalie gets a stick on it right there. Watch the stick right there. Now, the other thing I want you to look at is the shaft. So I don't think I talked about this last week, but Ryan Cornell plays with his hands very close together and his hands very far away from his body. That is not a strong leverage point. Okay. You're not strong when your hands are close together. The fulcrum, right, is tiny. And this is a perfect example of why you don't want your hands close together. So it makes me like super upset from a coaching perspective is like, who the hell has let this goalie play with his hands together this long? Because at the Division 1 level, you don't have the strength to basically make this save. The bottom hand needs to be further down the shaft to act as an anchor if you have any chance to make this save. Okay. So because it's at first I thought it was just the stick head flexing, but it's actually the whole stick, the butt end goes forward because his hands are too close together. Let me show you another clip of this. Okay. All right. So this is a ball. I think at this point in the game, there was like they were 3 goals apart, maybe. Right. So here's that stupid slide again. All right. This is going to be a good angle. Right. All right. So here's the slide. Right. And how many times, guys, have you ever seen in the men's or the women's game, have you seen a half baked slide like this actually pick off a pass? Like maybe 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 500. It's a waste. So there goes the slide. The long pole is now totally out of position. Now, the goalie, here you go, like I was talking about, right here, the goalie's thinking, all right, he's got by my left ear, maybe off my left hip, and 5-hole. But see the hands so close together, right? Watch this. It's a straight overhand shot, which is actually quite easy. Watch the goalie's knees. He's wondering, is it going to go 5-hole? Because I got to be ready for it. Either that or just protecting his nuts. Like 100%, right? But right there is where you see the ball hit the stick head and the stick just the butt end like comes straight out because there's no strength There's no strength. And that's what people got to remember, is that you're not just trying to hold your stick out in space. It's like you're trying to do stuff with it, right? And so this really disappointed me, right? So and guys, this is one thing where I bet a lot of times along the way, all right, for Ryan Cornell, he was told, you know, hey, you're a fantastic goalie. You're super athletic. Like we talked last week, like Chris Fife said, he's like the most athletic kid on the team, right? And so what happens there is that coaches can lose focus on what, okay, we've got to prepare for something coming. Not like, oh, he's done great up till now. It's like, no, we've got to think next level. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to think about, is when you have your young goalies, you go like, okay, guy got it. Yeah, this may work for you now, but when you get shot on at that level, you don't have the strength, right? You need leverage. You got to get those hands apart, right? And then the other thing, just to point this out, is that so again, another example why I don't like the vertical stick position on the stick side of the body that sucks your bottom hand all the way across your body, is because you leave up this here. Okay. You leave up that near side pipe. But there's the shot, boink, right? So my question here is like, okay, as a goalie, I'm probably pulling my knees together because I'm worried I'm going to get hit. The ball might go there. But again, this doesn't look like very confident to me, right? And then you get the stick on it, and then you butcher the only chance. Like, this should have been a save, in my opinion. This has to be a save. If you're UVM and you're looking for opportunities and you're playing Duke that gets all the love, we can't have misses like this. We can't, right? You're wasting all the effort of your team. In this case, though, you're wasting like the bad slide by 22 and the late defender and all that crap, because no one's taught good communication on your defense. But anywho, I digress. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So for your goalies, and I got to do a video on this in like the next couple of weeks, the idea of that, you know, a lot of goalies, young goalies, I think, are very weak in the shoulders. And even for this goalie, as athletic as he is, I would argue that he's probably weak in his shoulders just a little bit, where the hands come together. It's almost like they're propping each other up. You know, the bottom hand is almost propping up the top hand. And if you look at other clips, he's fully extended. Fully extended. That's the weakest you will ever be. Right? That's the weakest you will ever be. So you got to get those hands apart. And the general rule that I use is have your goalie grab the stick with their top hand by the throat, put it across the front of the waist. Okay, I know you can't see me here. Put it across the front of the waist. Stick the top hand just on one hip, and you're going to slide the bottom hand up the shaft to meet the other hip, and that's basically going to be a good width for you. Right? That's kind of a general rule for me, is just that width is normal. And then tape like make a ring of tape where the bottom hand needs to go. So your goalie can just slide their hand up the shaft and it'll hit the tape, and now they know where it is, right? I can't stand, you know, when I coach young kids, and I'm teaching them how to catch and throw, I'll put like basically 5 strips of tape on a stick, you know, and I number them. So there's the butt end, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they know, like, okay, you know, we're cradling, put your top hand on the 3, you know, put your bottom hand on, like, whatever. I'll just, that way they don't have to think about it. Do that with your goalie and just say, all right, here's the ring for your bottom hand, and we never have to talk about this again. Right? That's what you got to do. Right? So that your goalie doesn't end up being a D1 goalie and a really good chance to play a good team, and they mess up making something like that. Right? So yeah. So, because that can make all the difference to your team, right? You just have no idea, and those details really, really matter. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening wherever you are. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you like this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. When you're ready, head on over to lacrossegoalieuniversity.com/coaching so I can work with you and your goalie. And while you're at it, check out athletespecific.com to learn more about mental performance and high performance. You may not know this, but I work with athletes in a variety of sports. Lacrosse is my love, but man, I love athletes and the families who support them. So head on over to athletespecific.com and check it out. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.